We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be speaking with our special guest, so be sure to stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to Here's to Your Health, where we connect community to care. And in this segment, we always bring in our special guest. And our special guest is someone who I have recently connected with, and I'm so glad that I have, because there's so much that we have in common, especially when we talk about goals around senior care in communities. And so our guest is Glenn Cunningham, and Glenn has been selling real estate in the Peel region since 1988. Lots of experience, and as a broker with RE/MAX Realty Services, Glenn brings that experience, that knowledge about his community, and that really is the key, is being able to have those resources at your fingertips within your community when you need them. He also holds a couple of accreditations or designations, and one of them is Senior Real Estate Specialist, and the other is Master Accredited Seniors Agent. And I think the latter has played a very significant role in something that we will be talking about in the show today, in how it's going to benefit seniors in the Brampton community. I believe that, Glenn has seen a real need for senior services, help for seniors within the Brampton region, and he has started something that I think in the very near future is going to go viral, if we can talk about that from a social media perspective. But really, it is a network that is going to help many, many seniors in the Brampton community. So Glenn, thank you so much for joining us. When we bring our guests on the show, we always ask them to share a little bit of a story about themselves, what their passion is, why they do what they do. And I know you've got a great story to share with us.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for having us here today. It's something that's interesting that kind of started out as what am I going to do, to something that after 26 years of being in the business has kind of revitalized what we're doing and kind of brought some new excitement into it, because we're seeing some great rewards with what we're doing with the senior community, for sure. Everybody does have a story, like you said, and one of the biggest part of my story is, parents who went through some illnesses late in life, and, we had to go through the whole process of handling their business when they couldn't handle their business any longer, dispersing the asset when things were finished. So we got a good feel for what people are going through, and that, along with the education that we've got, all of a sudden the light started to come on, and we're having some fun again.
And Glenn, it is such a common story that I hear amongst people that we bring on the show and have as guests, in their personal experience has changed their path, has changed their business, has changed their focus, because we've realized through our personal experience, and being a nurse, both Julie and I, you'd think that we would know all the answers to the questions, and it is so completely different. Each individual situation or crisis situation can be different, and the resources are a crucial part to the solution in helping that individual. And so you're absolutely right in how taking our personal experience and building upon that and creating solutions and opportunities for other people to learn from, I think is very vital. So let's start with that Master ASA. And let's talk about that a little bit more, because I think that was really the building block behind what it is that you've done in the Brampton area.
Well, absolutely. The Master ASA is actually a graduation from the ASA program, the Accredited Senior Agent program, which there's been quite a number of agents across Canada that have taken that. But there was a very small nucleus of agents who said, I think there's more. There is no model. There's no experience out there to say, well, this is what you have to do. So a lot of what we're doing is an interaction between the few of us that there is, and learning from our experiences what needs to be done and what can be done. And then, of course, reaching out to the community, folks like yourself, to get more involvement, more information. Like you said, to get the answers, but I'm just learning what lots of the questions are. And I think that's the ongoing thing, is we didn't even know what the questions were only a short few months ago, and now we're digging into the amount of answers that we're getting, and where we're getting those answers from is just mind-blowing.
So you can just imagine, here's a team, a group of of people that have come together, a group of professionals that are weeding through to find the questions. Can you imagine what the folks are, especially individuals who are alone, how they feel in a situation when crisis happens or there's a change in their health status and they need to navigate the healthcare system and find those resources. So, I appreciate you explaining that and sharing that, because I think that's so important for people to understand that, you're not alone, and that many of us go through that, and that we shouldn't be going through it alone. And by creating the initiative that you created, I think you'll help a lot of times with individuals going forward in the future.
Well, I know from your background, you must see the same thing that we do. I mean, families get into a situation and they don't know where to turn. And as much as there are places out there where they can get information, it's frustrating for them. First of all, it's frustrating because they don't know the medical terms. And when they do get there, unfortunately, overworked, underpaid people who are trying to sort all of this out with way more clients than what they can handle just don't have the time to do the hand-to-hand holding that needs to be done sometimes. And most of that service is in the medical or the health side. What we found missing is from the business side, from where do you get the legal help, the accounting help, the financial help, and then tie all of that in with the healthcare. It's a big void, and I think that's part of what's created the excitement and the growth, the rapid growth within our group that we've got going right now.
So why do you think it's so important for organizations, for groups, and for people to come together and to support senior services and senior initiatives?
Well, I think the importance is pretty obvious. I think it's now starting to be seen by everybody that the number of people who are crossing that threshold into now what's referred to as the seniors is gaining momentum exponentially. And the services that are out there have not been put into place in order to cover off all the needs that they need. And I think the other thing, too, is the change from the younger generation, where I'm old enough that when I got out of high school, it was kind of, finish your education, get a job, get married, have a family. Now they're not doing that for 10 years later than what most of my peers would have done. So there's a stronger financial commitment to the now senior, where they're in that sandwich generation, where they're assisting kids going to university, grandchildren, and they're still supporting maybe themselves and a parent. So it's a lot of weight on there.
So it's, it really is a generational thing, but more importantly it's about the numbers. And the individuals that are aging and going down that aging journey really are the ones that are going to be needing these resources in order to help them, because it's difficult and it's challenging, and you want to be there for your grandchildren, you want to be able to enjoy your retirement, and you want to be able to manage your health, but you need everything to work together. And you mentioned that. You mentioned the lawyers, you mentioned the financial planning, you mentioned good health and wellness and all that. And if you don't have all of the components, you're not going to have the success. And I think the group that you started, and let's talk about that more, and and introduce it and tell us share the name, and what your goal, what was your thinking behind building this, and why was it so important for you to do it now?
It has changed a lot since we started. The group is now evolved into making our seniors matter, and it started out as an obligation to be a Master ASA. You have to put together a network of specialists that you can call on when needed. But once we started to put this together, we started to find out that a lot of the professionals, they know their job, but they don't really realize what people around them are doing. It's so important, and we're seeing that as we're creating this group. We're bringing in 4, 5, 6 professionals into helping an individual through a certain part of their life. And it can be, we need legal advice, we need real estate advice, we need mortgage advice, we need unfortunately, credit advice. That seems to be a huge issue that we weren't expecting. And just all the plans that go around. Have you got your will? Have you got a power of attorney? All of these things are part and parcel. And as you know, from the health point of view, without some of those things, your hands are tied as to what you can do. And you got to bring the family, you got to bring the senior, and all of the professionals together to make it all work as positively as you possibly can.
And I think that statement, "it takes a village," really does apply to each and every one of us, because we're all going down that aging journey. Every one of us will be in some form of this situation at one point or another in our lives. Julie and I, we talk about it on the show all the time, about planning ahead, taking charge of your health. And the planning ahead piece really encompasses everything. Because what we tend to hear a lot of times at Bayshore from individuals, and we always go through the funding options, and we try to figure out, is it government, is it insurance, do you have to pay for this privately? And people in Canada aren't used to that, and they're not used to hearing that you might have to pay for your health and the success of your health, especially when we talk about aging. But the reality is, it's going to happen. And so I think, building your group and your network has brought the key individuals and the key components together so that people can start to have these conversations and learn and understand why this may apply to them. That, okay, so you may not be able to afford to pay for that care that comes into your home. You may not be able to afford to go into live into a retirement home. However, if we started way back here and we planned ahead and we said, yep, I'm planning for that world cruise, I'm planning for my grandchildren, but I'm also planning for my health. And, and I know you've got some very key people that are sitting on that group that are going to help not only us that are part of the group, but the general public become educated on how to do this right.
Well, that is probably something that's going to be really key, that we can actually get it out there, that kind of uniformity of getting to a place by utilizing a number of different professionals to get there. As I said, debt is one of the things that has caught us off guard. We didn't recognize just how much debt that a lot of seniors are in. Having said that, we are also very optimistic that there are a lot of people out there who can afford a better retirement lifestyle than they think they can. And part of that is by bringing in the professionals, the financial planners, the accounting side, in order to tie that in, and then going back to how many people are putting out of their pocket dollars that there are monies available to if they only knew it was there. And tying all of that together. And I think that's the key to having healthcare providers, the residences, and the business community being the lawyers and the accountants and the financial planners and the trustees, so as we can all work together to come to a goal that's going to really make a significant difference in some people's lives. I don't think we can fix it for everybody, but if we can touch a number of people and make it a little bit better for them, we've done a lot.
Making our seniors matter is really the solution to what a lot of people are experiencing when they're hit with a crisis situation or they're looking to plan ahead. So to me, it's twofold. And I think that, my hat's off to you and congratulations for doing this. And I know it's a team effort with your wife, Liz, who's very instrumental in this group as well. And so let's take a quick break, and when we come back, let's talk about some of the things that this group and some of the initiatives that you're bringing forward to the community in Brampton that, will help folks either navigate or learn or understand better what they're reading. And welcome back to